It is Hammer Daily Tuesday, March 3rd, presented by FanDuel. I'm Rob Pizzola. Jason Cooper, TakesByJ, serving the final day of his suspension. He will be back here hosting the program tomorrow. Don't want to get into the details of that, but Jason is back tomorrow for the three people that care that he's back tomorrow. His brother, Josh, his dad, his mom. Very unusual for me on Tuesday. Because of the NFL and Monday Night Football, I know we're outside of NFL season, but my typical schedule would be to sleep in on Tuesdays. And I was up here in the office, beat you in today, Mike.
Yes, you did.
By 20 minutes.
I also come like an hour and a half away. Come on.
It's true. You have a big time commute. But
I'm here earlier than Jason on most days, so that's something to say.
I don't get out into the city much other than recording Circle Back when I'm in studio on Mondays. Some a lot of stuff triggering memories for me today.
Yeah.
I had a really weird, the underground parking garage won't open today. So I had to park a little bit further down the street. So I'm walking to the office, and as I'm walking, somebody hits the horn.
Yep.
Beep, quick beep, beep, and gives me a wave. And I look, I have no clue who this person is. Zero. But it reminded me of when I got my first car. Which was an Oldsmobile Intrigue.
I have no idea what that is, but anyways, continue.
It was a banger. It was my dad's company car, and then I bought it in auction. Oldsmobile Intrigue.
Okay.
But I would go around the neighborhood, and whenever I would drive, and I just saw a random person walking on their own, I would do a couple quick beeps, and I would wave.
Yeah.
But not being nice, because I was like, as a kid, I'm like, that person's going to think about this the entire day. And you'd be like, who was that? They're going to ask other people in their family, do you know who that guy is that drives this car?
Yeah.
And I just, it reminded me that I did the dumbest shit when I was young.
I mean, we all do as kids. I still do dumb shit.
Yeah, I mean, you're young. You're young, so you have an excuse.
Yeah.
I can't do that kind of stuff anymore, but, I did really, really dumb shit when I was young.
When you think about it, looking back, what is the number one thing on your list? The dumbest thing you could have ever done right now without thinking about it?
Yeah, it's tough. Well, I didn't get I was a part of this, but I evaded the police. But some of my friends got arrested for trick-or-treating in July.
Really?
Again, I was part of it, but I a few of us managed to get away.
Yeah.
But some old 80-year-old lady is seeing guys going around the neighborhood in the middle of the day with masks on and costumes, and she called the cops. And the cops showed up.
Yeah,
and we recorded it, so there was video evidence that it happened.
We need to see these videos.
I know. That was bad. Also, I went through a phase when I was late teens where I ate fast food a lot, because we played a lot of late night poker. So once you were done playing poker, 2, 3 in the morning, only spots that were open were McDonald's, Wendy's, the fast food spots.
Yeah.
And we used to get the, you get burger and fries, you get some accompanying sauces.
And ask for extra in the bag.
Yeah, sweet and sour, barbecue, honey mustard, whatever the sauces were at the establishment. But then I was a shitty kid. I was a shit disturber, pure agitator. You'd be driving around at 3:30 in the morning going home. You're with your buddies, and we're we're driving by our other buddy's house. His car's parked on the driveway. So we would take these sauces, and we would put them underneath the door handles of the car. We would smear them underneath. So my buddy's getting up for work the next day. He opens his car door, and he's got sauce all over his hands. And then he would tell us this story afterwards. It's someone keeps doing this to my, and we don't have the heart to tell him. But we did that. My buddy used to open his garage door manually. One of those where you have to twist and pull, you would sauce all over that. People got sauced.
So I'm going to ask you, does Bobby Pizza Sr. know about any of these stories?
He's probably watching today. He's probably watching and being what an idiot.
Yeah. Listen, we've all done dumb stuff. I mean, I'm going to say this one. My brother used to work at West 49, a skateboard shop here in Canada.
Yeah.
And he had a bunch of these flyers. It was a skate park flyer thing. So they were in the garage. My buddies were over. Took them, laid them out in the garage on the concrete floor, took some spray, aerosol, whatever you want to call it, lit it on fire. Garage door closed. Like it stunk like smoke in there. We thought we cleaned up the evidence. Turns out it left like a big black like ash mark stuck in the concrete. My dad, man, I'm telling you, that was bad.
Yeah.
Well, that was probably the stupidest thing I have ever done. I could have lit the house on fire.
One person honking and waving at me today just triggered all these childhood memories of how much of an idiot I was. But one memory of my dad, if he's watching now, my dad used to come into the basement entrance of the house. We had like a raised bungalow, right? So you enter on the main floor, and that's where I used to watch sports. I get home from school, I turn on the TV, I'm watching sports, and he would get in the door after work. He used to work like a long day, and he'd be like, Rob, why don't you just pick up a book, man? Like read. He's like, these sports are not going to get you anywhere in life. You're not going to get anywhere just watching sports all day. Sports. And it did age poorly.
Yes.
So that's a reminder. It did get me somewhere in life.
Oh, your dad says, I am watching.
Yes. There he goes.
We got to ask Drew when he comes on what one of the stupidest things he's ever done is. Actually, let's ask everyone on the show today. Why not?
I'm sure Moretto has some stupid things for sure. Moretto looks like he was up to no good when he was younger.
Moretto's a Habs fan, so
Moretto is like mutual friends with my sister's friends.
Okay.
And they were definitely up to like some real dumb shit when they were younger. But tell you what's not dumb shit. That would be BetStamp Pro. And if you're betting at a high level right now and you haven't tried BetStamp Pro, you're honestly flying blind. BetStamp Pro is offering a 14-day free trial right now that lets you compare odds across 200-plus sportsbooks and prediction markets in real time so you can actually see where the best price is before you place a bet. Every line on the screen is benchmarked against BetStamp's proprietary True Line. It's built using years of historical pricing data from some of the sharpest books in the market. So instead of guessing if you're getting value, you can quickly spot when your book is off and where you can get the best number. Scan the QR code on screen, or you can head to the link in the description, start your 14-day free trial of BetStamp Pro today. And of course, some people might need the tool because they don't know if they're getting value.
correct.
They're just guessing.
Correct.
Our next guest, he's not guessing. He's not guessing. Some would say he's the complete package. He's got the hair. He's got the tan. He's got the personality. He knows his vintages well, I think at least. Most importantly, for the audience here at Hammer Daily, he knows ball. Drew Dinsick, the whale capper. Drew, how are things?
Things are great, man. Appreciate you having me on. Fun intro. Yeah, it sounded we were up to many of the similar hijinks. It sounded like yours were more lighthearted and kind of targeted to friends you knew who could take a joke. We were more chaotic and random, and but yeah, the sauce packet, saucing people, I love it. And yeah, the best prank we ever pulled. Obviously, I was a swimmer in high school. We had a rival club team, and we knew, when you go to championship meets, you're staying at a hotel for like 3-4 days, right? And we took the team jackets from our rival team when they were up behind the blocks to do a relay. We stole them, and then we went to the ground round, which was the restaurant at their team hotel, wearing their jackets, and ran up a $250 bill and ditched and the hotel management called their swim coach and was like, "Your guys were here. I saw their jackets, and they left a $250 tab." All the guys we were rivals with got grounded, and had to come up with cash to pay that tab, and we replaced their jackets the next day without saying anything, and I think we got away with it.
I think this was the inspiration for a Saved by the Bell episode. Like I'm not joking. Like Bayside High had their rivals. I can't remember what they were, but I'm pretty sure they dressed up as the. I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I watched Saved by the Bell, but I think it's very similar.
It was a great prank, and I would love to run into one guy in particular, and who would have I would love to convince about that.
Oh man, that's a good one. See, we just had fun, We just you're a tennis guy, Me and my friends used to play, and we'll move. I swear we'll talk shop here. We'll talk betting in a second. We used to play a game that we called No Rules Tennis.
I love that.
But it had rules. I don't know why we called it No Rules Tennis, but we used to play this once the lights would go out. So after 11 o'clock at night, we would go to the local tennis court. It had 3 courts wide, and we would do like a 4-on-4, 5-on-5, take over the entire court. The only rule was the ball couldn't bounce twice. But you could fire it high in the air. You could fire it off the fence. There were no lines. It was just one side versus the other. But when it's midnight and you're in the dark and you start launching balls a mile in the air, no one knows where it's going to land. You have no clue. So it's either coming down, you're listening, you're using all your senses. It was a great game. Honestly, I would pay to see that at a professional level.
Reminds me of Red Ass.
Yeah, Red Ass, another big one in the elementary school. But can't play that nowadays. You get expelled.
Kids are soft.
Yeah, you can't throw a ball at another kid at school nowadays intentionally. Get on the wall, line up. No chance. No chance. Let's talk some hoops, Drew. I had Kirk Evans in studio with me yesterday. We were recording Circles Off. And we got 2 big games in the Eastern Conference tonight. I want to get your thoughts on those first, and then I want to move to Eastern odds because I know a lot of people who bet the NBA, and there's a lot of very distinct opinions on how the East is currently priced with the Big Four and who might potentially be valuable in those types of spots. But let's start it off with the game of the night. It's Pistons and Cavs. Taking a look at the current betting market at FanDuel, and we got the Pistons 2.5-point favorites on the road, pretty much in line with the rest of the market. Total 228.5. Pistons, Cavs. What are you seeing here, Drew?
Yeah, when you were saying big game in the East, I thought you were going to go with the hottest team in the East, of course, the Charlotte Hornets. But no, let's talk Pistons, Cavs. And this one bums me out. I don't know how in tune you are with kind of some of the general content in our side of the betting space, but I was pretty pro Cavs doing something awesome in the end of the regular season after the Harden trade. I got some of the superlatives on them, like to win the Central Division at like absurd prices. Mostly it was because what the Pistons did at the trade deadline was embarrassing. They desperately needed just someone who can be a secondary creator offensively. They elected to just basically, call with their hand, which is not good enough to win 3 playoff series and get to a finals. So, I've kind of tried to find ways to poke in and be against Pistons at sort of the market prices because, in my opinion, at least a lot of their success is based on just the try hard nature of, the way that the schedule is, the way the schedule is in the NBA, where if you're trying hard in December and January, you're just going to rack up wins against teams that are not trying hard. And the Pistons have a talent deficit against, pretty much the other top 3 teams in the East, in my opinion. So I thought the Cavs could run them down. I think we needed a couple of breaks in the last 2 weeks and did not get them. So I think the shift has not occurred in the way that I was hoping it would. And the market right now with Pistons as small favorites against the Cavs, I think is correct. Donovan Mitchell is going to miss this game. He matters an enormous amount to their kind of ceiling offensively. Although I will say, if Harden is your primary engine and you have the bigs available, then you're still going to be able to do some, put some pressure on the Pistons in this one. So it should be a pretty fun game. I'm not inclined to bet Cavs at price. My fare on this one is Cavs plus 115. So I guess you can find some plus 120s. I see some plus 124 out there.
I'll tell you right now, I'm glad you mentioned FanDuel's our show sponsor here. They got a plus 130 right now on Cleveland. Best price in market if you want the Cavs.
Yeah, that is about 15 cents of edge by my numbers. But you're going to do it. You're going to have to do it without Mitchell, and his singular value for the Cavs is pretty enormous. So if he was available, I would have the Cavs as 3.5-point favorites in this game. So you're looking at effectively a 6-point swing with no Mitchell.
Is this Mitchell's first game absence tonight?
I believe it is. He's going to miss a couple, I think, with the groin, right?
Got it. I'm wondering. So in both hockey and football, sports that I bet on more religiously than the NBA, you have like a very minor, I'll call it a phenomenon that happens whenever you have a star player that's hurt. We see it in the NFL with starting quarterbacks a lot, where over the last, let's say, 3 to 5 years, they've been really good bets against the spread, betting the backup in the first game. And in hockey as well, we tend to see it when a star player is out. If I'm building a hypothesis as to why those teams do so well in the first game, it's kind of like everybody knows they got to step up for this one, right? You know, you're missing someone who's very noticeable in the lineup. And then as time goes on, you just can't play without the star players, and you start to see those teams fall off. Do you see stuff similar to that in the NBA where you just have like a star missing a game, or like, you know, he's going to be out for a few games due to injury, and you get that first game where it just seems like the intensity or the effort level is a little bit higher?
Yeah, I got to correct my my commentary. Mitchell has missed 3 already, so yeah, we haven't seen him since the 24th. But they played the Cavs got the Detroit Pistons in Detroit without him in overtime. But your commentary is spot on in a macro sense. In fact, there's like a pretty clear trend where the very first couple of games that a superstar player misses, the team performs market expectation by a decent amount, because, and I think this is common sense, which is the opponents are extremely well prepared,
right,
for team tendencies. Like the people maybe don't really recognize the degree to which film study and analytics inform basketball the way that we would talk about it for football. But I would say it's even more analytically inclined, because it is such a, so many things are just flat out solved, right? Right. Football is still an oblong shaped ball bouncing, doing weird things. Basketball is a lot more of a solved problem. And people, I don't think, really respect how important, the analytical, side of things are. And when you have uncertainty because you don't exactly know how an opponent is going to deploy usage, and when you have players who are given a newfound opportunity to absorb some of the usage that is vacated by a star player, like it just tends to be a synergistic opportunity a lot of times for good teams, for well-coached teams, for teams with good staffs and good planning. So it is a lot of times on a game by game basis in the regular season. First couple of games absent of a star player, you do see a team overperform market expectation, and it's usually by a meaningful amount. Superstar subtraction theory is commonly bantied about with in this kind of context, but it's a good kind of long, at least last 5 years, this is a regular occurrence.
Yep. Knicks Raptors tonight as well. Knicks small favorites on the road. Just quickly looking at the top teams in the East, what's noticeable to me is that the Knicks have actually struggled away from MSG this year, just 15-14, where you look at teams like the Pistons and Celtics, much better records away from home. I can speak for Raptors fan base. I mean, I look at the odds and they're pretty significantly back there in the East. I don't think it's really realistic that they would represent the East in the title game this year or the finals, but there's some excitement around the team in the city, and I think this will be a pretty raucous atmosphere in Toronto tonight. What are you seeing here with Knicks and Raptors?
Yeah, this is a good opportunity to bet the Raptors, in my opinion. The point you make about the Knicks on the road is valid, but it's even weirder is like the Knicks have had several sort of phases to their season. Some phases where like they were clearly playing one or two standard deviations above their expectation for meaningful stretches, including the stretch where they won the Cup title in December. And then they've had valleys where they have just been very, very, very far off median expectation. I think on average, they've been a good bet this season, game by game. But like kind of neutral rating for the Knicks is not really controversial. They are a +4. Like if you want to argue +4, +4.2, fine. Yeah. Like they are a +4 period, but they have definitely had some stretches where they're playing like a +6, 6.5, and stretches where they're playing like a minus, honestly. And so, they're a little bit of a heat index kind of team. And right now they're playing flat to their expectation, in my opinion. So, put the Knicks down in pen as a +4 in this one. And then the Raptors, to me at least, have, much more of kind of an upside in terms of we don't really know what their ceiling is because so much of their, kind of creation comes from players who are still figuring out the game. And I think the neutral rating for the Raptors for me is a +2.5. They got home court here. I think this game should be closer to a pick, so I'll happily take the Raptors +3.
Yep, +3 Raptors for Drew. Now, looking at the East betting odds, Raptors are way down the board, 40-1 to win the East at FanDuel right now. But like I mentioned off the top, we got these top 4 teams here. Celtics +250, Cavs +260, Pistons +410, Knicks +420, and then we have a really sizable gap from there to the 76ers and the Hornets. Like I said, I know a lot of people who bet basketball seriously. I can ask them, and I get very, very different answers on who they think is the best value in the East right now. You mentioned the Pistons didn't do much at the deadline. We've seen their odds drop accordingly. Of those 4 teams right now and the prices associated with them, Drew, who do you think is the best bet of that bunch to make it out of the East?
It's the Celtics.
Yeah.
And I don't even actually think it's especially close. Rob, you have a good memory.
Yep. Yeah, I did. But let's go with it.
Let's just put you back in. Let's send you all the way back in time to April 2025.
Okay.
Celtics were meaningful favorites to win the title last year over the Thunder.
Yeah.
Many people at the time were like, what is going on? Like, yeah, they won last year, but the Thunder are clearly a better team. How could this be? The market was just absolutely enamored with the Celtics last year. They are not that different of a team with Jason Tatum back in the fold, and he is coming back into the fold on Friday. This is a team that once, kind of get him, 10 games under his belt, and especially because, like, I'm not sure why people aren't really recognizing or seeing this, like, so much about how people view basketball and think about basketball comes down specifically to offensive contributions, but that's not at all what matters as much when it comes to winning a best-of-7 series. What happens in a best-of-7 series is you solve your opponent, the scoring gets more difficult, defense becomes, defense and matchups and small things become more and more important as you get deeper into a series. And what unlocked the Celtics' potential 2 years ago in their title run was Tatum's ability to effectively take away the center of opposing teams defensively, and his flexibility defensively was just remarkable. And if that is what he can bring to this team, which desperately would need that in a playoff run, then they are going to have relatively light work to do to get through the Eastern Conference and get to the NBA Finals this year, in my opinion. And then you look at their opponents; they all have, in my opinion, fatal flaws. We mentioned the Pistons not really having any type of secondary creator outside of Cade Cunningham. They also have very poor spacing and can't shoot. Those are Achilles heel type of problems. The Cleveland Cavaliers, fun regular season team with the addition of Harden. Call me when a team led by Harden and Donovan Mitchell realizes expectations in the playoffs. Like I'll happily pay to see that. And then the Knicks as a going concern, like I'm pretty surprised they're keeping the unit together to make another run. And Brunson is.
I think are we losing him?
Yeah, I think we're cutting out here with Drew. We'll try to get him back in a second, but yeah, it's an interesting point. I will say, of the people that I've talked to, a lot of people have been making cases to me about the Celtics recently as well. And it's interesting to hear Drew say that, because I think 2 weeks ago was a lot of Cleveland. We got Drew back here. We can bring him back in. There we go. Sorry about that, Drew.
Yeah, apologies, guys. I'm having all kinds of tech issues.
You're good now.
Yeah,
no worries.
the Knicks fatally flawed defensively with Brunson on the floor. So as long as the Celtics can avoid the Hornets, I think they're going to the title.
I want to get some quick thoughts, as long as they can avoid the Hornets. GRP's Hornets. I want to get some quick thoughts on Indian Wells, the fifth Grand Slam, as it's sometimes dubbed. We're going to have a full segment on this tomorrow. Isaac Rose Berman is actually in studio with Jason tomorrow. So there are going to be a lot of tennis coverage tomorrow. Before we do get there, quickly, Drew, it's a big board with the NBA tonight. There's lots to choose from. Is there anything else that stands out to you as maybe potentially something that you'd like to bet tonight?
Yeah, I laid Spurs 7.5. That number should be bigger. The two advantages for the Spurs are their front court is like just on another class than the front court that the Sixers are going to trot out there. And then the second unit, the advantage for the Spurs is like plus 7 points. They, that there's really no world outside of the Sixers having a phenomenal night shooting the basketball where they're threatening the Spurs in this one. I think the Spurs bounce back after that miserable performance against New York.
All right. Indian Wells. So I'm not as big a tennis fan as I used to be, but I think Alcaraz Murray a few years ago, where you had the underhand serve by Murray, fantastic. But one thing I do know about Indian Wells, at least it's been told to me, I don't know, I'm just trusting other people. They say that this tournament plays differently. Like, it's not a true hard court. There's something about the air density, the ball bounces slower. Like, am I way off base here, or is this something that is actually handicapped very differently from different tournaments?
No, this is the most fun tournament to handicap on the calendar because of the uncertainty, not just the court speed and the fact that levels the playing field to where guys who are traditionally clay court specialists, who have rally tolerance, who are outstanding on return, they have much greater chance of winning a match on hard court against a stronger server than you would on pretty much any other hard court on tour. So it levels the playing field across skill sets, which is pretty cool. But even more than that, like, order of play matters, right? Are you playing during the day or at night?
Yeah,
because the conditions day and night are really different.
Right.
The weather really matters. Is it a particularly windy day, right? Like, winds can get absolutely hellacious out there this time of year, depending on, just the randomness of the weather. So you got to follow, like, all of the small things matter a ton in this tournament. And then even more than that, like, the time of year is hugely important, right? The Australian Open happens in January. That's a little weird to have like that big of a tournament right as the season is starting. And there are a lot of players who just aren't really ready to play in January. Take the Australian Open as a paycheck and kind of, try to get themselves ready for the start of the season here. February is kind of a lost month on the tennis calendar. You have lots of players who accumulate wins and points and, their stats look good in the month of February, but it's against weak fields or it's against players who are just kind of tuning up their game. And now it's like go time come Indian Wells. So a cool little sunshine double here between the Indian Wells and Miami for the hard quarters to get some points and some money. And then we go into the clay swing, and like this part of the calendar is really where you make your bread if you're a professional tennis player. So, it's a cool transition start to the season, in my opinion. And like you mentioned, this is the slowest hard court just because of the surface itself is very, very kind of granular hard court. So it grabs the ball, and in general, the dry air means that if you have especially good opportunity to get topspin on your forehand, it's a devastating shot. That's why Carlos Alcaraz has had so much success here. And in the blind, I think betting Alcaraz at relatively similar prices as Sinner is a good bet.
All right, that's interesting. Well, let's close on a hypothetical. I'm a very casual tennis fan, but I see very interesting matchups along the way in this tournament potentially. Tsitsipas and Shapovalov, Perikar and Joker projected round 2, Zverev, Berrettini projected round 2, but there's a hypothetical semifinal here of Joker Alcaraz. How would you, let's say nothing changes in this tournament, no additional injuries or anything like that. What kind of price would you expect if that semifinal came to fruition?
So the close in Australia was Alcaraz minus 400 off the top of my head. And that's a best of 5. So take a bite out of that. Minus 280 probably. And it would likely be short. I thought that the close in Australia was wildly short. I sadly didn't just take my 70 cents and turn it into $1. I went for the 3-0 kill and didn't get it. But ultimately Djokovic has a problem, which is that in order to win any tournament that Alcaraz and Sinner are in, he's going to have to beat them both. And I just don't think he has the juice. This particular tournament, and for whatever reason over the years, he's kind of mailed it in at Indian Wells. So and he has been playing a little bit of mail it in tennis lately, as well. So not expecting him to really bring the goods. I think he's kind of treating this season as his last chance to see if he can somehow, some way get number 25. And I think he's going to save his bullets for Roland Garros and Wimbledon and maybe even the US Open. So I wouldn't count on it. I think Alcaraz almost surely gets there. No one in his quarter of the draw is really all that spooky. Djokovic, I think, could get popped a number of opportunities along the way. Potentially Pericard's not going to beat Djokovic, I don't think, in the second round. But if the Polish kid Kamil comes through, he's got a pretty well-rounded game and could give Djokovic some trouble. Courtine Moutet, the French guy in round 3, is a potential problem. Draper is out of form because he had such a significant injury end of last summer. But he still has the qualities as a defending champion. He's good enough to beat Djokovic. And then Taylor Fritz potentially coming through on the bottom half, always plays his best tennis in Southern California, as he is a San Diego kid. So gets to sleep in his own bed.
There you go. That's what the guys handicapping the golf tournaments are always looking at, right? It's like, he doesn't have to travel. He knows this.
Hey, a gal from Austin, Texas just won Austin, sleeping in her own bed. So it's not crazy.
There you go. Well, I'm sleeping in my own bed. Sometimes I win bets. Sometimes I don't. So it is what it is. Good luck to the Spurs tonight. Go Spurs. Go Raptors. And I guess we're cheering for Alcaraz as well at Indian Wells for you. Thanks, Drew. Appreciate you.
All the best luck, fellas.
Thank you. Drew Dinsick, Whale Capper, everyone. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. Love catching up with Drew. It's really solid all around. Switching gears. I didn't have a good segue. I haven't hosted in a long time. I'm very rusty.
It's all right. You're doing good. Better than Jason, some might say.
I would hope. The bar is very low. The bar is extremely low. So I would hope. I watched Hammer Daily yesterday.
Okay, well, that was there was big technical issues there. We had to adjust on the fly. But anyways, continue.
Yeah, well, I watched yesterday. It was G-Stack.
Yeah.
And whenever I see G-Stack, I think football. I think NFL. Guy lives and breathes NFL. He's obsessed.
He does.
He's dropping combine stuff nonstop into our Forward Progress group chat over the course of the week. And I know I teased today saying I'm going to do mock draft 1.0 and that nobody asked for it. And it's not entirely true. I've been getting a lot of DMs on Twitter. So I figured, you know what? I followed the combine pretty closely. I think some things are getting shaken up a little bit. We still don't have widely available markets yet on NFL draft, but they're coming. Mm-hmm. They're coming soon. We've talked to our friends at FanDuel. We just know, based off of history, we're going to start to get some markets open up really soon. So I'm going to give my top 10 of how I see it right now. And as we lead up to the NFL draft, we're going to do a lot of content on Forward Progress about the NFL draft, including different mock drafts that we're doing. In fact, later on today, 5 p.m. Eastern time, there is a video dropping on Forward Progress with G-Stack George and Austin Mock from The Athletic. Austin Mock was at the Combine this week. He's very well-versed in a lot of this stuff. He covers college football as well. There's going to be a stock up, stock down on Forward Progress. You check that out, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Really quickly, for those who are interested, the Pizza Man Mock Draft 1.0. All right, the Raiders are not trading the pick. They're going Fernando Mendoza. Let's never say never, but the markets that are up on first overall pick, Mendoza's going to get picked here. I think it's very likely going to be the Raiders. At number 2, this is where it's probably a coin flip at this point. David Bailey, a true edge. I see him at number 2 going to the Jets right now. Probably maybe 60% confident in that as well. Arvell Reese to the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona can do a number of things at the number 3 pick, but I think 2-3 is likely going to be Bailey Reese in some order. Now, Sonny Styles at 4 is probably where I'm deviating a lot from the mock drafts that are out there. A lot of people think Jeremiah Love might go to the Titans at 4. I view this as Robert Saleh coming in for the Tennessee Titans right now. He's going to see Sonny Styles, and all the comps leading up to the actual draft are going to be Micah Parsons, right? I mean, Sonny Styles had a great combine. He's very versatile. He can rush the passer. Like, this is going to be a prototypical Robert Saleh type player. So I'm actually going defense at number 4, Sonny Styles out of Ohio State. I do think 3, 5, 6, you're going to see 2 offensive tackles go off the board in some capacity. I think at the Cardinals at 3 are not going to do it. 5, we get our first offensive tackle out of Miami to the New York Giants. Classic Harbaugh type of coaching, solidify the offensive line. I think that makes a lot of sense there. Number 6, this is the guy that's going to, in my opinion, skyrocket in mock drafts, which is Monroe Freeling out of Georgia. Had a fantastic combine and could potentially be a franchise-changing tackle. Probably the only true left tackle in this year's draft. Number 6. At 7, if Ruben Bain Jr. falls here, Washington's taking him. I could see them trading out of this spot, but if they get another one of the 3 big edges in this draft at number 7, they're going with it. Number 8, I have no clue right now. I'm mocking Jeremiah Love. There's been a lot of reported interest from the Saints in this particular spot. Forget what you think about, should running backs go in the top 10 and whatever. I'm just trying to predict what I think is going to happen. Jeremiah Love at 8. Now, Caleb Downs at 9. Don't have the full medicals on Caleb Downs yet. And who knows what's going to happen here, depending on what actually came from those medicals. Because there's some reports that there's potentially some knee issues with Caleb Downs. Regardless, I don't think of him as just a safety, and a safety being drafted top 10. Very versatile playmaker. I think the Chiefs would love that. Number 10 is really hard to mock right now with the Bengals. I could see them dropping out of that spot as well. But I'm surprisingly going to go with offensive line for them. I was going to say Carson Palmer. Can't believe I was going to say Carson Palmer. Joe Burrow has been injured many, many times before. They got to keep the guy protected. Fano might end up being a guard in the early going and then eventually shifts out to tackle over time. But that's where I'm going. That's 1.0. I reserve the right to change this many times, which I will. But based off of all the data that is currently available to us at this point in time, that's where I'm going as my top 10. We'll see what Austin and G-Stack George are saying later on today on Forward Progress. All right, we're going to talk some puck in a couple of minutes. Before we do, of course, Hammer Daily is brought to you by FanDuel. Huge fan of FanDuel. And basketball fans, it's almost time. It is time. Today's the 3rd Super Trade Day sweepstakes. FanDuel is all about those three-pointer moments. And today, March 3rd, it's 3-3. That's why it's the trade day. Just in case you were wondering why it's the trade day. 3-3. You'll have your own shot at a big win from downtown. You place a 3-point wager, and you'll be entered to win a share of over $3.3 million in bonus bets. I like what they did with all the threes. It's very easy.
And it's also the 3rd today. You think that was a content strategy?
Of course, that's what I'm saying. 3rd day of the 3rd month, 3.3 million, 3-pointers. It flows. You don't even... I don't even need an ad.
3-day suspension.
Yeah, there you go.
It's good.
It was a 4-day.
Oh.
4-day. Technically, if you count the weekend, 6-day. 3 times 2. Download FanDuel now. Claim your profit boost to enter that. Again, today, the final day. You must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Limit 1 entry. Profit boost bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost token. Prizes issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. For Louisiana, call 1-877-770-7867.
I got to say, out of all the creators on this network that do the Hammer Daily, you read the disclaimer the best. And I ain't kissing ass. That's just me being honest.
This is me being a professional.
True.
See, what Jason Cooper gives in being a clown, which is good for he lacks in professionalism.
Yeah.
When I get an ad read, this is how I was trained. When I get an ad read, I don't read it for the first time on air.
That is true. Yes, you're prepared.
I read it over and over and over till it becomes fluid. This might be even over the top. It's not just for ad reads. It's for other stuff that I want to remember so I can talk to a camera naturally. Sometimes I will read it and record it.
George just said Mike is 100% kissing ass. I'm not, man. I'm just giving credit where it's due. I'm giving people flowers.
Yeah, what's your problem, George?
Anyways,
Guy sees a 99th percentile host in the seat for. By the way, this seat is so. Like I'm sitting. I'm just revealing secrets right now, right?
Oh.
This is
your head.
this is what Jason sits on. Okay, like he doesn't want you to know what his actual height is, but it's shaped to his ass now.
All right, let's bring Alex in here before so many and ask him what some of the dumbest things are he's done.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Alex Moretto, edge work, OT starts now.
Well, it's just Alex right now.
Yeah, I know. It's whatever. Alex, how are you?
He's muted.
Yeah. Have you muted yourself? Have we muted you?
No, he's muted on his end.
Wow. Well,
Yeah, he is.
this is great.
Here, Alex, rejoin.
I'm good now.
Oh,
Let's get to the bottom of this on air. Who is to
I
blame?
got sabotaged.
Well, there you go.
It was me. It was on my end. That was on my end. I had the wrong thing selected.
You ever do a lot of stupid shit when you were younger?
Yeah, so I was watching that segment earlier and I was trying to think about it. We did a lot of stupid shit, but not more stupid shit to each other than other people. There was one thing that kind of got out of hand at one point where we were grade 6, grade 7, going around and we would steal those decals from people's cars, go in their driveway and take their the Honda logos, all those things off their cars. That was probably the worst thing. My memory is also terrible.
Well, that's legitimate. That's legitimate
Or,
theft. That's a crime.
Yeah, that's theft. Yes.
Yeah, that's theft.
Yes.
You're openly admitting to. There's probably a statute of limitations on when you could get
Definitely is
charged. But yeah,
doesn't mean I did it personally. I could have just hung out with the crowd that was going around doing it. It was. I'm not admitting to anything. I'm just saying we ran with a crowd that did that a little bit. Yeah, that's probably the worst thing. I don't remember a lot of other stuff we did. I just remember doing stupid shit all the time, but more to each other, trying to physically injure each other by pranking them or whatever. Civilians were usually completely unharmed or unbothered in our shenanigans.
that's good. It sounds like you lived just a regular childhood.
Just good wholesome fun. Yeah, good wholesome fun. My memory's also shot, so I don't remember 95% of the stuff we did when we were younger.
Oh, I remember it all very, very vividly. I don't know. I can't remember the last 10 years, but childhood I remember very clearly.
Interesting.
We used to play street
Yeah,
hockey.
the formative years.
This is the
Yes.
this.
Oh yeah.
I've had a lot of time to think about this over the course of the show here, and I swear we're going to talk some NHL in a second here. But we used to play street hockey. It's a very Canadian thing to do. It probably happens in the U.S. as well, but you got a couple nets, you put them out on the street. Everyone in the neighborhood that lives on the street kind of comes out and plays hockey, and this is the real worst thing. But it wasn't just me that did this. It was a combination of people. But you put two people in net, and they have to put on the equipment. They got to put on the pads.
Yeah,
And they got to put on the stuff. And one of the goalies was complaining. He's probably 12 years old. He's I got to run inside. I got to go to the bathroom. And we're all no. We're not stopping it sucks. When one net is empty, you're staying, Jerry. You're playing the rest of the game. Unfortunately, he shit himself. And
guy was just devoted.
For the good of the game.
Yeah.
For the good of the game.
Unfortunately, it was not for the good of the game because it got on the pads.
Oh.
And we had to get rid of
over.
had to get rid of the pads as well.
Sounds like shit.
Yeah, it really was a bad thing. I regret that point in my life.
You know what? Is so many coming?
He's coming. There was a little miscommunication with
Okay.
timing. Timing gets moved around for
Yeah.
this segment quite a bit. So he was under the impression it was
A regular 1 to 1.
10 o'clock his time. So he was just running a little bit behind. He just got out of the shower. He'll be here in any minute.
Just make sure he doesn't fall again. That was bad.
9:45 a.m. for him. He could cook up some breakfast and whatever. Let's lock in. Let's play a little game here, Moretto.
Yep.
Let's go, me and you.
Let's play a game.
All right.
Okay.
Let's have a little game. Friday's the trade deadline, right?
Yep.
Friday, March 6th, correct? This Friday. NHL trade deadline.
Friday, March 6th. This Friday. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm getting back into the NHL now. The Olympics has like rejuvenated my spirit. We got no more NFL going. I tried to watch the NBA for like a month. I was smashing player props. I'm like, this is just not my thing. NHL. There's a lot of teams that are out of it right now who are going to potentially be unloading. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to go name by name. I'm going to give you 10 guys. You're going to tell me whether they get traded or not at the deadline. And if they're going to get traded, you propose a destination. That makes sense. Clear?
Okay, we can do that. Yeah, easy.
All right. Number 1, American face-off hero, Vinny Trocheck.
Definitely traded. Definitely traded. He's expressed many times how he wants to stay on the East, which like kind of limits his destinations. I'm gonna go with a bit of a sleeper team here. I'm gonna say Columbus. I'm gonna say Columbus swoops in and makes that happen.
Team that's in the mix, trying to get themselves above.
Further into the mix. I think they really want to make the playoffs, and they need to do something for that to happen.
Okay, number 2, former Toronto Maple Leaf, ridden out of town by the fan base and the former GM, Nazem Kadri.
Went on to win a cup.
Yeah, sure did. Don't remind me. I was leaving that out.
So I'll say he's traded for sure. I think it's malpractice not to trade him if you're Calgary. I'm going to stick to what I wrote in the newsletter last week, because I think everyone's got him going to Colorado. I think Colorado maybe could explore some other avenues. So I'm going to say, I don't think this actually happens, but I'm going to say Boston. I think Boston's trying to make a swing here, and that's a guy at least with term that they could have for a little while longer. Again, I don't know. I don't think this actually happens, but I'll say the Bruins.
What a career arc that would be. He's gone from trying to murder people that were on the Boston Bruins
when he got ejected and suspended in the playoffs
to play.
That's why I really want to see it.
Full circle moment.
Yeah, it really. That fan base would like hate him, but then would immediately love him because of his.
Is he not a Bruin?
He is a Bruin at heart. Yeah, he would be a great Bruin. Robert Thomas.
I'm going to say he's traded too, which is wild. I think there should be like 28 teams lining up to do what they can to get him. So I'm writing for the newsletter tomorrow, a big trade deadline primer. I did talk about Robert Thomas quite a bit, and I'll give a spoiler here. I'm going to say Carolina swoops in. Tulski, another big splash.
Yep.
They're not going to get over the hump unless they add a legitimate center to play behind Aho, or like even above. Aho's better than Thomas, but like it's close. They can't run Stankoven as the 2C. I'll say they make that happen. They have the picks, they have the prospects, they have pieces that St. Louis would like. So let's say, he goes to Carolina.
I like that. I actually like that as a fit for them too. Brock Besser.
Should absolutely be traded, but he will not be. I think he's gonna stay put because that's an incompetent franchise. I wish somebody was here for that. Too bad.
Connor Garland.
Connor Garland, I had him traded to the Islanders in the newsletter on Wednesday. I don't think he actually gets traded though. I think he does get traded in the summer, but he's a guy with some term that I think they can wait a little bit on. I would love to see him move. I think there's a lot of teams that should be trying to get Garland because he's not that expensive and he's a really good player. But yeah, I'll say he stays put for now.
Dougie Hamilton.
Stays. I think they've missed the boat there.
Yeah.
I don't see where would like the Leafs were like one of the logical destinations just because like they desperately needed someone like that. I just don't like. I think they still want to move him. I just don't see who could possibly pull that off or who wants to pull that off right now.
Okay. Big one for locals here, Bobby McMahon.
Bobby McMahon would make the most sense for a team like Edmonton. I think I'll say Edmonton. I think he gets traded. Just because like Edmonton has so little that they can offer right now and so little cap space. Like his contract is like at least a guy like they can add somewhat of an impact player who's on a cheap deal. Like if they're trying to fit someone in, I think that makes sense. Desperately hope he stays though and signs for like 5x5 in Toronto because that would be hilarious. And I would love to see that.
Ha ha ha.
We need the assets. We need the assets. I like Edmonton actually. That makes a lot of sense. Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Ekman-Larsson's a guy I think they need to move, but I think they're going to struggle to get what they want for it. Just like you look at the Murphy trade yesterday.
Yeah.
It's a buyer's market right now. Like they did not get much for Murphy. I think they really need to trade Ekman-Larsson because you look at like he's a guy who's like going to be 35 or something next season.
Yeah.
Coming off like almost a career year this year. Like you need to sell high. I understand you want to still be competitive next year, but like that's a guy who could be like he could fall off a cliff. Like he could legitimately fall off a cliff. I think you need to trade him. I don't think they're going to get the offers that they need to move him. But I think they should settle for whatever they can get. So I'll say he stays.
I'll say OEL to the Bruins for 2 firsts and Fraser Minton. That would be my prediction. Steven Stamkos.
A Brendan Carlo.
Yeah.
A gently used Brendan Carlo.
Yeah.
Steven Stamkos, I think he stays.
So do I.
I think he stays in Nashville. I don't.
His market, like the appetite to acquire him now.
I wouldn't want to. Yeah, I wouldn't want to add him. I don't know. He's just too one-dimensional player at this point to move the needle.
And let's end it off with Alex Tuch.
Tuch is like a fascinating case because in basically every one of these cases, a UFA like that, who doesn't, I don't know, maybe he will re-sign in Buffalo when all is said and done. I don't think he does. Like in almost every situation, I'd be like, you got to do something and move this guy to not lose him for free. But I think Buffalo's in such a unique spot where they finally have something good happening. And like, it's a rare case where I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with them actually using Tuch as their own rental and trying to bring him back. If they don't, whatever, they're so starved for like something good in playoff hockey that like, just hold on to him, I guess, and you know, try and make a little bit of a run.
All right. We're going to hold you to every single one of those predictions.
100%.
You've been
100%.
clipped.
What's specifically going out in the
10%,
newsletter
10%.
tomorrow?
I'm literally just going team by team and breaking down what I think they should do at the deadline, what they need to do, kind of just like looking at each team's sort of situation right now, and how I think they should approach the next few days. And in some cases, you know, looking ahead a little bit to the summer too.
Yep. Open rates on those newsletters are extremely high. For those who haven't checked one out yet, we're up to about 60% even in off season for NFL, which I didn't think we'd be at. So people who are reading it are opening it and they value it. You can check it out over at thehammer.bet as well. And we post those up there, or you can just subscribe to the newsletter, get it right into your inbox. But it looks like in the background, he's freshly showered. You know, you want to be clean whenever you're talking puck.
Hair's looking good today.
Man, what I would give for So Money's hair, man. He's got like that George Clooney salt and pepper going. Just absolutely incredible. Edgework OT. Let's get into it. Mr. Money, how are you? Well, it's not your fault. It's very clearly Moretto's fault.
I should have had time.
It
My
was
shot was
my
better.
fault.
We played a little quick game, as you saw, whether a player will get traded or not. I got to Brock Besser, and Moretto's like, no, because they're an incompetent franchise.
Yes, that is a big part of it. But I think the bigger part of it is just they're not gonna you're not gonna get market value for him. He signed a nice deal, and I know he's like struggled to score, but like he's one of those players that has a track record. You know for the most part what you're getting from him as well. So, and the Canucks know that they're not just going to give him away either. So it would be nice to free up some cap space, but he's not the kind of player that you just want to give away either. So no, they're not going to. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. The incompetence comes in that he should have been traded earlier, and like we shouldn't be in this position. But right now, he's not going to go anywhere.
All right. But they are also an incompetent franchise.
Absolutely.
We can,
yeah, I've been saying that for a while now. They are they're incompetent. And I was actually talking about this the other day. It's we went through the mid to late 90s after the Cup run, and the Keenan eras, and like it was pretty daunting back then before the Nonis and those guys came in.
Hearing that name makes me shiver. Nonis. We both have experience with that one.
Yeah, right. So like, this is actually worse than that because there were actually expectations, right? Like, I have bets on the Canucks to win the division this year, right? So I was expecting certain things, right? To be fair, I also have the bets on them to be last in the league as well. So
cover all the angles, so many like
full circle, man.
Like a true pro, man. Make sure you cover all the angles.
I have the market corner there on the Canucks.
100%. We got 11 games tonight on the card, so we'll go through them all. Try to find people some good bets that are out there. My brain only functions in a way where I look at a board and I go top to bottom, rotation number order. It's the way it's always been for me. So we're not going to start with the hottest of games with the Predators and the Blue Jackets, but that's going to be our starting point right now. And last night's game ended up being pretty incredibly close. Columbus was up, I think 4-0 in that game. Looked like it was going to be stress-free, and they hit a wall, or Wall Street, as some might say. I just did that on the spot right there, believe it or not.
Something Jason would do.
It is. I don't want to be compared to him. Please don't ever say that again. Nashville at Columbus tonight. Current market right now, Columbus minus 140 at home. Total in the game 6.5. Juice towards the under. Moretto, I'll kick it off with you on this one.
Yeah. Columbus hit a wall last night, but not enough of a wall because they still found a way to win that game. And I was pretty heavily invested in the Rangers. Had the Rangers. I feel like I'm betting them every game because I hate myself. But I bet them pre-flop earlier in the day, and then the Werenski news dropped that he wasn't going to play close to puck drop. Market said, Zach Werenski who? And didn't budge basically at all. So I added more and more. And I was like, all right, well, we're dead. And then they sucked me back in. And then just to push me off the top of the cliff again. So that was fun. I can't do anything with this game right now until we know if Werenski is going to play again tonight. It was an illness last night, bad enough for him to miss the game when they're chasing the playoffs. So like I can't rule out the fact that it could potentially be bad enough for him to miss again. If he does miss this game, I'd have some interest in Nashville and an under, but I can't do anything unless I know what's going to happen with Werenski. I'm also reevaluating everything right now because I don't know if you just saw Joey Toons posted some very fascinating breaking news. In the Telegram
let me see. Feed me
chat
Telegram here. NHL trends.
Yeah,
Dogs are barking.
Dogs are cashing on the puck line. Underdogs are 29-20, 59% over the last 7 days. So really got to reevaluate everything I've done for this slate today. So maybe circle back a little bit there.
So money, same thing for you. Waiting on Werenski here to see what you're going to do.
Yeah. I actually like this number on Columbus. But obviously, if Werenski's not in, it's going to get better for us. So if Werenski is in, I would fire immediately. I like Columbus, like them a lot. I think Nashville, they've been good, surprisingly good. But I also think that they've been inconsistent as well. And like like all those teams around the bubble, that's kind of what you would expect from those teams. And Nashville, I think, are getting ready to go on a bit of a dip here. So I do want to get in front of that. And I like Columbus at this number. I like Columbus. I've got them to win the Stanley Cup. So I'd be ready to go right now. Just waiting on a market timing here.
All right, let's move forwards. Golden Knights at the Sabres. So Sabres haven't played at home in pretty much a month. Because of the Olympic break, obviously. But Buffalo they're still charging a little bit. Looking at the goaltending situation here, looks like Akira Schmid likely to go for the Golden Knights, Alex Lyon for Buffalo, who, has been playing pretty solidly as well. Just taking a look at the market here, Buffalo prohibitive favorite, minus 146 at FanDuel, so money, and the total 6 juice to the over at minus 122.
I love Buffalo. I love the Sabres. Love them all year, but it's too far.
Yeah.
I think that I think as good as Buffalo is, and again, this is not anything. This is not a bet against the Sabres. It's a bet on. I think that Vegas has gotten unlucky a little bit here. We see all the 1-goal games that they lost before the break. They lost to Washington 1-goal game, and Pittsburgh, that game just kind of got away from them. That was terrible goaltending, and I don't even necessarily think that they played bad. I think that that's one of those things that just snowball. So you kind of you're gonna take that 5-0 score and you throw it away a bit as well, right? Like they got well below average NHL goaltending in that game. So even if they get baseline goaltending, the way that they've been playing, I think they're fine. Buffalo's fine too, but I think that that the difference in these teams was accounted for when that number moved up, and now down to plus 125, actually down to plus 122.
Yeah.
I do like the Sabres here.
Moretto, I've heard a lot of "we are all Sabres" on Edgework overtime.
I think
Knights.
Vegas here.
Yeah. I got you. Charles Saul just actually said it in the chat as well. We are all Sabres. Listen, I'm not betting hockey at the level that I once was. I'm kind of getting back into it as well. I did think that this number was a little bit steep on Buffalo as well.
It's insane. Yeah, okay. I mean, they're being priced like they're on borderline Lightning at this point. I know the market absolutely loves them and can't get enough of them, and it ran quite a bit. I bet you want to talk about market entry here, so money. I bet the Vegas Golden Knights when a plus 125 flashed, and guess what? There's a plus 130 available now, so I bet them a little bit more. So I got a pretty big Vegas position going already at this point. I was a little bit worried. I was waiting to find out if Marner and Theodore were going to be in, because Cassidy said yesterday that they were battling an illness, and that's why they weren't out there. So, but yeah, they're both out there for the skate, so I can't imagine they won't be able to play if they're good enough to join morning skate. So I think we're good here. Just no Stone, which is fine. This has gotten to uncharted territory on the Sabres. I get why there's not an appetite for Vegas. They're not necessarily winning games, but like you said, so money, they're playing really good hockey still. They're at 5-on-5. They've been really good. The results are going to come. It's just a matter of time. I know there's a big, that tweet that Sin Bin Vegas tweet went out about how they've struggled so much to beat playoff teams this year. They basically haven't since November. I don't know. I think that's just noise. They're still playing good hockey. The underlying numbers are fine. And now we're getting plus 130 against the Sabres team. It's crazy. So yeah, we are all Knights tonight for sure.
I will say this, boys. I just clicked Knights plus 130. And there was no movement after it clicked. So.
I know. I did the same thing. I know. I was like, I don't know.
And
it's all right.
It's going to move just now. Watch. It's going to move.
Maybe keep an eye on it. But I will say I clicked, and normally I would expect that one to go within 15, 20 seconds. Maybe I've been out of the game too long. They don't respect the opinions anymore. But yeah, all right. I'm with you guys. Utah, Washington. Utah, 4th in the Central right now. First wildcard spot, looks like, even though they've been pretty average, I guess, over the last month or so. Quick market check on this one. And last I checked, Washington was a pretty short favorite at home and still in the same price range. I don't think that we've seen much here. Minus 125 at FanDuel. 6 is the total. Juice to the over, Alex.
Yeah, we got a lot of games tonight, so I don't want to spend too much time on this one. I think it's lying pretty fairly. I want to be on Washington, but definitely not at these prices. I would like it to be cheaper, but I don't think we'll get cheaper. And all I could say here is basically just wait and see, because the market has tended to fade Washington quite a bit. I think I've taken a pretty strong stance against the market at times on this Washington team, which if you look at where Washington is in the standings, you can maybe guess how that's gone so far. But no, it's been pretty good in spots. You got to just obviously pick your spots here. Market loves Utah too. So if we do end up getting like something relatively cheap on Washington, something like maybe like anything below the teens, so like maybe like a -112, -111, -110, I would be interested in. But I think we're kind of a ways away from that still right now. So I got nothing.
So money looks like Veggie and Thompson pretty likely to play in this one as well.
Yeah, so I agree with Alex here. I do want to bet Washington, but not at the current number. I would like them around -110, which is not going to happen. But that's kind of where I would like to bet Washington. Couple of notes here. Before Utah's loss to Chicago last game, where they lost 4-0, they were actually playing very well. And I think that, and it was against Minnesota and against Colorado. So it's not like they were playing well against poor teams. So I want to see if that 4-0 loss against Chicago was a sign of things to come, or if that was just a blip on the radar and like we just throw that game away, like how I'm willing to throw the Vegas Pittsburgh game away. So that's one thing I want to keep an eye on with Utah, and probably the biggest reason keeping me off of Washington, because they haven't been playing that well either. So it's kind of this is one of those games where I think we'll be able to see if both of these teams' most recent performance, if they're kind of dipping now, or if we can throw those games away. So I'll pass. I do want to play Washington, but not at this number right now.
All right, before we get to our next game, important announcement. The book did tick from +130 to +128.
There you go.
2 cents, maybe not the same respect I was once given, but there's still some respect there. Actually, could have been someone else betting it. Who knows? Exactly. All right, let's keep it going. Interesting game in the East. We got Bruins and Penguins. Bruins -118 at home on FanDuel, 6.5 juice towards the under. Penguins have gotten some really great goaltending for a while now. Stuart Skinner just been confirmed as well, and I mean he's been really, really solid for them. What are you making of this one, So Money?
Oh, I love Stuart Skinner. We all know that. So like it's nice for me to see that. I feel some vindication, not too much though, because he still has to win a few big games. But for this game, I think that we are where we should be. You put the home premium on Boston in a coin flip game, and you just call it a day. I think that's probably where both of these teams need to be. So nothing for me. Pittsburgh was tempting, but I do need a little bit more plus money than that. But I think it's lined fairly, and I think we are where we need to be.
Alex, you agree there?
Am I here? You guys got me?
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm not able to. Some of my web pages aren't loading here. It's good timing because honestly, this is probably a game that I don't want to talk about at all. These are two teams I'll go broke fading. They both play like shit, and they continue to win games. I can't stand this Penguins team. I don't know how they keep pulling it off, and the Bruins have been doing the same thing for about 4 months. So thankfully, they're playing each other, and I don't need to do anything with this game, and that's one for me to sit out here.
All right, let's keep it moving. We'll stick in the East. I mean, certainly at the beginning of the year, this probably would have looked like a much better matchup than it does nowadays.
Rob, can we jump quickly to Tampa, Minnesota?
Sure, let's do it. It's one of the games of the night. Let's move over.
Yeah. Because we just got pretty much as good as we're going to get in terms of confirmation here on Jonas Brodin, who's going to be, sounds like he'll be back tonight for Minnesota, which is enough to get me on any of these unders at plus money. So there's an under 6 plus money. We'll see if the market, I mean, again, look, I jumped to get to this game here, but like, we know the market doesn't care about 98% of players in this league for whether they're in or not. I would expect the market to move on Brodin here. We'll see if it actually does. But in case I wanted to get ahead of this, under 6 plus money, something I'm going to be betting right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of it available. FanDuel plus 102 right now. So Money, would something like Brodin move the needle for you towards an under as well?
Not really, but I'm going to tail Alex because I trust him more with the granular level players. So I trust Alex more with that. So I will I will tail Alex on this one.
Now, just talking theoretically on the game, and maybe this for you, Alex, but if it's enough to move you towards the under, it probably would have at least some impact on the Wild as well. I know you're a huge Lightning fan, and like you think they're a juggernaut, as do I. When I watch Tampa Bay play, whatever, out of the break, not the best so far. But typically, if you think it's going to be a lower scoring game, that would lend itself more towards the underdog. Would you agree there?
100%. And definitely Brodin, I think, is extremely valuable to this team on the back end, especially like with Quinn Hughes there now and what he could bring offensively. It frees their top pairing up for some more offensive minutes and gives like Brodin the tougher defensive assignments. The reason it's not getting me on Minnesota though here is because, like you said, I love this Lightning team. I rarely want to bet against them. 1, 2, this is not something I think you can fully quantify in numbers, but they just laid an egg against the Sabres in their last game, and John Cooper came out and was pissed off after that game. Look, it's narrative-y, but like I do think we see a response from Tampa here. I don't think they're going to lay an egg like that 2 games in a row. This is a really professional team that I think will bounce back well from that. And typically, this also lends itself to an under, is that they just allowed 6 goals to the Sabres. It was a very uncharacteristic defensive performance. If I expect a response from them here, which I do, I think it will also come as a result of a very strong defensive game, which also lends itself to an under here. So it's one I kind of had circled and I was close to. Brodin just kind of put me over the edge there.
All right. I'd rather get to it right away as the news drops. Like you said, listen, maybe sometimes it doesn't move necessarily off of that, but better to be safe than sorry on that. Right. Back to the East, Devils and Panthers. Devils are starting a 7-game homestand tonight, which, at this point in the season, it's going to be a challenge for, honestly, both of these teams. It's just not been a great year for either of them. Florida finds themselves as a small road favorite, -114 at FanDuel, away from home here. This is one of the few 5.5s on the board in terms of total as well, juiced to the over here, so money.
Yeah, so I'm kicking myself for not betting against Florida the last 2 games. I think that this team is cooked. I think that they're probably going to shut it down here in the next little bit, and I think that everybody in the organization, from management down to the players, is well aware of that. And I'm sitting here not betting against that. So it's not going to happen tonight. I know it's the Devils. They kill us. Every single game they kill us. But I want to get ahead of it. Florida, this number is based on what Florida should be and not what they are right now. This is a team that is about to call it a season. So we're not going to get these prices in the next couple of weeks. I want to get it now. And if New Jersey kills me, they kill me, but I'm not going to be letting this go. So New Jersey plus money, you can go -105, -110. I'm fine. But I do want to be on the Devils tonight.
Moretto, thoughts on this one?
Yeah. We talked about this on Thursday. I bet the Devils so many times lately. This team is so bad and they quit. But this number is, again, we talked about it on Thursday, how I want to fade the Panthers. And it's a team that I think is going to be overvalued because everyone expects them to play desperate hockey and find their way into the playoffs because they're back-to-back, cup champs. And how could they miss the playoffs? That stuff happens in sports. And sometimes those fake narratives find their way into these numbers and you get these teams that are overvalued. I think that's what we're looking at here with Florida. The one thing I was going to say though with this one is I think you can wait to bet it. I don't think there's going to be a rush I just don't see any appetite to bet on the Devils, whereas I see a lot more appetite in the market to bet on Florida. So personally, this is one that I didn't anticipate giving out coming on here because it was all minus money still, pretty much pick'ems. Now that we're getting +105 is flash. There's +102 out there on the Devils. I definitely would bet that. I'm just going to wait because I can only see this getting better, honestly.
Yep. I'm seeing as we go through the show here, and this is going to happen all week long. There's obviously the trade deadline on Friday. There's lots of speculation that guys might be moved, and it brings us into Chicago, Winnipeg, which is like bottom feeders right now. Before we get to that game, where Winnipeg is a prohibitive favorite, -162 at FanDuel, total 5.5, Alex. Do you change the way that you're betting this week with the possibility of players being moved? Or is it too early to think about that? Do you wait maybe on Friday? Kind of how are you approaching these games where there's teams that very clearly have players that might not be around come end of week?
Yeah, so it kind of case by case basis, because there's definitely some teams where I think there are obviously players who do move the needle and who do matter. Like if the Rangers are going to, trade Trocheck, I want to know he's in a lineup before I bet on them. Guys like that, obviously like Robert Thomas and some of the big names are obvious. When you look at Winnipeg and Chicago, there's no one on these teams that really would do that for me right now. I think that are realistically available for trade. Like you look at Winnipeg, like Logan Stanley, guys like it's not going to do much for me. But yeah, there's definitely on a case-by-case basis, it definitely matters. In terms of this game, I'm not really overly concerned. I would also say like Thursday probably is a bigger night for that too. Whereas tonight, like guys aren't necessarily going to be held out just yet unless they're like for sure this guy is going to be traded in the next couple of days. Let's not risk him getting hurt. So I'm not paying too close attention to that. I'll react obviously if like a big name is being held out because they're close to something. But this game, I don't have anyone that I have circled for that, and I also don't have a bet in this game. It's just I think the number is fine on the side. Total like Chicago unders I really like, but I can't stomach a Jets under right now. Like there's no way they're so bad defensively. It's like this is like one of those I don't even know the saying. I'm going to butcher it, but immovable force beats an immovable object or something like that, with just horrible Chicago offense against this.
One is immovable, the other's irresistible. Yeah.
There we go. Okay. Against a horrible Winnipeg defense. So I don't know what's going to give. I got nothing in this game.
So Money, anything here?
No, I got nothing in this game. In terms of the trade deadline, I used to before I used to look really closely at it and like monitor everything. As I've gotten older, I value my sanity more. So I will just bet it, whatever I think. And if it works out in my favor, great. If not, like fuck it, it's just one game. So I just gonna bet the number and like just whatever it is happens.
For a lot of today's show, I've been reminiscing on my childhood. And trade deadline day was a big thing for me and friends. We would like cut class, skip school to get together. And one of my friends will lead into the next game, was a huge Oilers fan, massive, still is to this day. I go with him to Buffalo to watch the Oilers play whenever they're in Toronto. Did trips to Ottawa before to see the Oilers, but this was before the social media era. And one day, this guy went to the bathroom. And we convinced him that the Oilers traded Ryan Smith, who was his favorite player. And this guy came out and he was losing it, like just completely tearing up his living room and whatever. Great memory for me, but those were the days pre-Twitter. Like you were watching and it was happening in real time in front of you versus everything being spoiled and reacted to. Like kind of pine for that. But Edmonton in action tonight against Ottawa. It looks like Ottawa's taking a bunch of money since open here. Current market at FanDuel, Edmonton -122, Ottawa +102. Guys, I've actually seen a lot of Senators games this year. I've probably, outside of Leafs, watched Ottawa the most. I like Ottawa I feel like they've just been sewered by goaltending all year long. And if they can get some saves, they have the appearance to me of being a very good team. I don't know if you agree, So Money.
I absolutely agree. I think that we've talked about this on the show as well, that this team just needs average NHL goaltending to be very good. And they haven't been getting it most of the year. They are starting to get it now, and we're seeing the results. This is a team that has been playing at a very high level for the last little bit here, and unfortunately, I missed the number that I would have liked on Ottawa, so that's long gone for me. So nothing in this game right now, but it's tough for me to get behind Edmonton as well. I think that they're very inconsistent. They're blowing leads, so it's tough for me to get there. But Ottawa was the play here. Unfortunately, I missed it. So nothing for me in this game.
Yeah, it seems like another one of those games where, Edmonton, they're being priced very equal teams. Edmonton just getting the home ice bump in that. Alex, your thoughts, Oilers and Sens?
Yeah, who can relate to being sewered by goaltending and having it tank their season?
Whoever.
The Oilers.
Well, I was going to say whoever So Money is playing for in men's league.
Well, that too. Yeah, this is like Edmonton and Ottawa are just so similar in that regard, where they basically had the two just worst goaltending situations in the league, and that's why they find themselves in the situations they're in right now. Edmonton, the final playoff spot in the West, and Ottawa scraping and clawing to even have a chance to make the playoffs. I think it's going to be too little, too late for them, despite the fact that outside of goaltending, they're probably a at least top 5 team in the East. I would say a little bit better than that. But goaltending matters, and they don't have it. This is one where, yeah, it's run very far. I didn't bet Ottawa early. I'm not betting Edmonton yet, but like we've seen in the market this year, there's very, very little two-way money. So the fact that Ottawa is like the bet side, so to speak, and they were bet early, typically we'll see that side just continue to get bet, as I don't know if it's people chasing steam or just people wanting to be on the same side as, the market or whatever it is. But if this continues to run and we get to minus 105 or cheaper on the Oilers, then I will play back here and have some Edmonton. And look, the issue for Ottawa is they haven't been able to outscore their problems, and that's why they're outside of the playoffs, because their finishing isn't very good and they don't have the elite talent up front. Mm-hmm. Edmonton has terrible goaltending, but they've at least been able to outscore some of their problems. So if this does become one of those games, I like Edmonton's chances a lot more here than the Sens.
All right, Dallas-Calgary next. Stars picked up their 9th straight win last night with a 6-1 win over the Canucks. Playing really well during this streak. From open to now, it's been all Stars money as anticipated. I guess this is another question of whether or not it's moved too far, not enough. But as it stands right now, Dallas minus 134 in Calgary tonight. Total in the game is 5.5. Alex.
I don't think it's moved too far yet, but I'm getting close to wanting to bet Calgary. I think a few more cents at some of those books where if we can get into like the 123 to 125 range, I'd fire on the Flames. What I have seen from Calgary, even coming out of the break, this is before the break, before the break, they were playing competitive hockey. Coming out of the break, oftentimes you'll see teams like, all right, we're done now. We've reevaluated things and now we're just kind of packing it in. They definitely have not done that. They're still playing hard and they're still playing well. They just kind of lack the talent to always turn that into wins. So this is a team that I still have interest betting on, like one of the few teams near the bottom of the standings that like I actually do have a bit of an appetite for. We're just not quite there yet. Where I am, I don't know if I can give this out fully because it's only available at one spot, but there's 5.5 plus money available on the total for an over. Mm-hmm. I would bet that. We'll see. Again, the under's taken some money and I think it'll continue to run a little bit. I like 5.5 over plus money for sure in this spot. I think both these teams just generate far too much to be priced that low here. Like Dallas has the offense going and Calgary has consistently generated like at 5-on-5 and everything. Parek's back in there too, which hurts them defensively, helps them offensively. This should not be 5.5 plus money for the total. So if you can get that, I like that. I wouldn't say it's widely available, so it doesn't have to be like an official play here. But yeah, I like over, and if we can get a little bit better on the Flames, I'll bet Calgary as well.
Yeah, so Money, what's interesting to me about this is not all back-to-backs are created equal. I think some people will see the 6-1 scoreline last night. I'm looking at ice time for Dallas's top players. They played a lot last night because they were down 1-0. They were up 3-1 going into the third. It's not like it was a complete massacre right out of the gate. So they did have to play the front half of a back-to-back. I think, they dominated, don't get me wrong, but it's not like they had a game where they could rest everyone for the entirety of the third period.
Yeah, so this was a question I was going to ask, that like, are you really on a back-to-back when the first leg of that back-to-back is against the Canucks? I would say no. You're right. It was a closer game, but when I was watching that game, Dallas was on their third or fourth gear. They had they weren't skating, and you just at any point in that game, you just knew that if Dallas just puts a couple of shifts together, they're just gonna blow them out. And
sorry to interrupt you so, Money. At 5-on-5 last night, there was not a single player on the Stars that had less than a 60% expected goal share. Not a single player that played last night. Like that level of domination.
And this is considering that watching them, I don't think that they looked that good. Right? They I've seen much better from Dallas. But that's the kind of thing that I respect from teams that want to get to an elite level. You bring what you need to bring to win the game. They didn't need to bring anything last night, and I think that they knew that. They just brought what they needed, and they just took care of it. So that makes me respect Dallas a lot more. We know that they've been playing at a high level for a while now. This is a team that I think has been sneaky this year, and now we're seeing them kind of put things together. And this is a team that I think is going to cause a lot of problems. I think that this is it's starting to be an elite level team, and they've kind of snuck up on the league again. So I do like Dallas. I do like them long term, and in this game, I think the number is fine. It's not. It hasn't moved too far. I think we are where we need to be, where Dallas should be a pretty heavy favorite, and that's where they are on the road on a back-to-back.
All right, 2 more games to go to here. For the first one, we'll start with you, So Money, because we want to get an impartial, non-homer opinion, which Alex is going to give us here with the Habs on the road at the Sharks. Montreal minus 134, total in the game 6.5, juice towards the over. It does stand out to me that the Canadians have played pretty well on the road this year relative to a lot of other teams in the league. They've been playing pretty well recently as well, 14 out of a possible 20 points in their last 10 games. What do you make of this one, So Money?
I like San Jose here.
Love to hear it. Love it.
My concern, though, is that they have played well the last couple of games. Nice wins, but it was also a comeback win against Edmonton and against Winnipeg as well. So that's not saying much. Montreal have been inconsistent. They did get a nice win against Washington, but like we mentioned earlier, I don't know if Washington is headed for a dip or they're fine. So that Montreal Washington game is something I've kind of put on the back burner. That being said, I think that Montreal's priced too high. I do like San Jose down to plus 110. I did bet San Jose. This is a team similar to Anaheim, which we're going to talk about, that they're not going anywhere. So I don't expect San Jose to make the playoffs, but I don't expect the wheels to fall off either. So San Jose is a team that has shown that they can stick around, and I think that they will. And if they are a team that I feel that are going to stick around, getting a price like this at home, you have to bet that. So down to plus 110, I do like the Sharks here.
So money on the Sharks. And Alex, you got to think that the Habs, Slafkovsky's going to see what a real number 1 pick looks like tonight.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Pellegrini's generational. We'll give him that. I think the Sharks are a terrible bet because the Habs are incredible. But no, I'm not betting Montreal here for sure. I'm not betting San Jose either. I think it's pretty good where it is. This is it's a step up for the Sharks into the Eastern Conference, a real conference with real teams where they're not playing the likes of these shitty bottom feeders every single night. Montreal has played really well on the road, and I think we'll get Dobish again here, and Dobish just has been very good too. So I lean under here. That's about the only thing that I'm kind of close on is there's some 6.5 plus monies that are of interest to me if Dobish is confirmed. But I don't have anything on the side here. Yeah.
That the confirmation, I guess, what afternoon skates would be roughly half an hour from now on the West Coast?
Pretty soon. Yeah.
So wait to see for that. All right, final game in the Western Conference. It's the Ducks hosting the Avs. They're wrapping up their 3-game series this year. Colorado won the first one 4-1. Ducks won the second one in shootout 2-1. I'm actually going to start with you here, So Money, because you had alluded to this when you were breaking down Sharks and the Canadians, saying the Ducks aren't going away. They're not going anywhere. Current prices at FanDuel, Colorado minus 152, Anaheim plus 126. Is plus 126 enough for you to back Anaheim in this spot?
Absolutely. Betting Anaheim, I have them down to plus 121. So yeah, I'm good on the Ducks. They're not going anywhere. We talked about that, and this is not to take anything away from Colorado. I think that we can all agree that they're an elite championship level team, but we're starting to see that it's really hard to maintain a certain level of play when you've started the way that Colorado did, even being an elite team. It's hard in today's league to be able to do that. We're seeing some games from Colorado where their play does dip, and again, it's fine. I'm not going to punish them for that because you have to get ready for the playoffs. That's what matters. So like if you're gonna have some games where things aren't going your way, you're just calling it, like I'm totally fine with that. Anaheim doesn't play like that, especially at home. I think that they're gonna bring it. They always bring it. And Colorado, I can just if this game doesn't start out for them well, they don't have to win this game. Where like the Ducks, I think that 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 they're fine. So I did bet the Ducks, and I think that we are good here at the current number as well.
All right. Alex, you in agreement?
I really wanted to bet the Ducks. I mean, anytime you can bet against the Avs in back-to-back nights. I had the Kings last night, which was a lot of fun, losing money on them again. So that was awesome. But
Kings, man.
I know and then Byfield was ruled out 30 minutes before the game with an illness, which was also great.
Gave you an illness when you saw the news.
Yeah. And then we were still right there. Late in the game with the chance to win it, and they obviously blew it. So I wanted to bet the Ducks. No Troy Terry or Granlund still. It looks like they weren't out there for morning skate, which is it just makes them a little bit too thin up front. I know no Lehkonen too for Colorado. Honestly, I feel like this is one that I was just looking back at the last two meetings earlier, and I bet under in both of those games. And I feel like we're going to get consistent over money again throughout the day. And without Lehkonen, without Terry, without Granlund, like I could get definitely on board with an under again if this does continue to run. Not at the 6.5 plus 105s, even the plus 109 that's there, but like we've seen these overs. I mean, so many, you obviously paid attention to this significantly. Like these overs have run consistently to the point where we're seeing sevens pop up by like the time we're like 30 minutes from puck drop. So if that's the case again, and we can get like a plus 115 on this under 6.5, and those guys are all out, which it sounds like they all are. I don't think we need to wait for confirmation there. Then I could definitely get on board with an under, and that's the way I would bet this for sure.
All right, there we go. 11 games, opinions on all of them, guys. Tonight, we are all Knights. We are Knights tonight.
We're all Knights.
We are not the Sabres tonight. We will be back to being all Sabres at some other point in time, but tonight we are all Knights.
Tonight's the night.
Tonight is the night. That's actually a good one.
There you go.
Like with a K at the front for obvious reasons.
Nicely done. Well done.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys joining. Best of luck with your bets tonight, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Talk to you guys soon.
All right, so Money, Alex Moretto. Of course, reminder, Alex does the newsletter Wednesdays. Make sure you sign up for the Hammer newsletter if you want his thoughts on NHL every single week. Of course.
Scan the QR code on screen.
There you go. It's up for you right now. Easy enough. New content, Forward Progress, later today, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Like I mentioned, G-Stack George, Austin Mock, breaking down the Combine. A lot of interesting things that came out of the Combine. If you're as much an NFL fan as I am, you'll tune in. For those that don't know, once this show goes off of YouTube, we try to get it up on our podcast feeds as quickly as possible. So if you can't watch on YouTube on a daily basis, totally fine. Maybe sometimes you just can't get out of a work meeting, you're doing something on lunch, you might want to listen on the way home and not have the video absolutely kill your data while you're driving home. It's fine. You can check it out, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you do and you enjoy the content, don't forget, rate and review 5 stars. And if you like this content on YouTube, please smash that like button down below. And if you're not subbed here on Hammer Daily just yet, please subscribe to the channel. In addition to Hammer Daily, we're going to have some more content dropping in the future, and also additional content on other platforms that is not available just on YouTube. So you can check us out on Instagram, you can check us out on TikTok. We're doing a lot of shorter form content on there that you're not going to find here. And honestly, it's pretty interesting. Sometimes I get Sometimes I get lost in the sauce watching Jason do some of those Instagram and TikTok videos, but make sure you do check it out. Jason Cooper is back tomorrow. Takes by Jay will be here in the high chair, literally the high chair, because he's got a booster seat on it. Isaac Rose-Berman joins us in studio tomorrow, talk a little bit of tennis. This has been Hammer Daily presented by FanDuel. Peace out, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.